Hi all, I'm Brad Wright from the Single Malt Whisky Club, and a huge Shalom Makorda to everyone in August. What a huge lineup we have this month. I'm pretty excited. Our Malt of the Month, none other than a world exclusive cask strength version of the whiskey crowned the best single malt whiskey in the world at this year's World Whiskies Awards held earlier this year. Wow. And as a nod to Tassie Whiskey Week happening right at the moment, our optional extra is one for all our resident peatheads. The Launceston Single Malt Whisky Club Special Edition peated. 2 whiskies exclusive to our members. Now, this is exciting. A little over 3 years ago, we launched a brand whose whiskies intrigued and delighted us since we'd first heard about them and then got to taste some. So we were delighted to launch the Milk and Honey brand to Australia via our members in March of 2020. In fact, we were the first whiskey club outside of Israel who showed their belief in the brand by putting up an order on behalf of our members. Now, we admit we were greeted with just a little amount of skepticism when we introduced an Israeli whiskey to Australia. But that skepticism soon turned to belief once those who doubted such a product actually tasted it. We always felt that the single unavoidable fact is that the Milk and Honey distillery located in Tel Aviv know how to make whiskey. And that recognition was made as official as it can be in April when their Elements Sherry Cask edition was named the grand champion, the best single malt whiskey in the world at the 2023 World Whiskey Awards. Now, as happy as we were for Milk and Honey with the recognition, we were completely blown away when we were informed that as a thank you for our support back then, Milk and Honey were offering us the world exclusive bottling of a cask strength version of their world-beating Elements Sherry Cask. Identical to the world champion in all respects, other than this one is as it comes out of the casks with no dilution at all. The purest it can be without actually leaving cask grit and splinters in your teeth when you drink it. So, as you can imagine, this is a huge honour for our little club, and is probably why I can't get this smile off my face today. And we're so very, very grateful to all the head honchos at Milk and Honey who decided that this was a good idea. They don't intend to repeat this bottling, so not only is this an utterly divine whiskey for drinking, let's be realistic and recognise that it's also bound to be a sought-after collectible on the world scale. There are very, very, very few of these bottles in existence, and the Single Malt Whisky Club has them all. So, how does it taste? Well, here it is, and there's that colour. This whiskey has been aged exclusively in Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez casks. Milk and Honey had those sherries made especially for them to season their own cask. So they've had about a year of seasoning the cask before the whiskey was added. I guess, look, it's a non-age statement whiskey. The colour's not quite as dark as I'd imagined, but it's still a delightful dark amber, I guess. And look, we all know that colour really doesn't mean anything. The proof is in the tasting. So, on the nose, there it is. On the nose. Now, it's cask strength. I've added just a touch of water. On the nose, there's sweet raspberry jam with creamy, crunchy pastry notes there, as well as spiced fruit. Instantly big and rich and thick on the palate, with incredibly well-behaved alcohol for that big 57%. It's so big and solid yet it's gentle and cuddly. It's big creamy fruit, and it's honey. There's vanilla in the palate, like a bit of a fresh cream apple turnoverish. And the finish, the finish is, it's long, it's rich, it's absolutely bloody chewy, all right. There's waves of big red stewed fruits and caramel. Oh, yum. Dark chocolates. Just a touch of white pepper spicing. Just a touch. Oh, and around it goes. Oh, yum. Yum. This is big and round and red and bold, and at the same time it's gentle and it's elegant and it's complex. All those notes that you love in a sherry matured whiskey are there, and they're present as a rolling thunder of absolute bombastic cask strength sherry bliss. Wow, try saying that twice. Thank you so much to all the team at Milk and Honey Distillery for this once in a lifetime whiskey. It's absolutely delightful, and we are sincerely honoured to be presenting it to our members. Oh. Wow. Now, our optional extra, oh, so nice. Now, our optional extra and another fortified mature whiskey, like our Malt of the Month, but this one is a cheeky little peated number from our mates down in Hangar 17. That's right, Launceston Distillery. Now, this is another Single Malt Whisky Club exclusive bottling, and this is made from a mix of non-peated Tassie malt and heavily peated Scottish barley. Now, this is where I normally say, what does it taste like? And we have a drink of it together. Unfortunately, my review video bottle hit the deck yesterday afternoon and it's smashed everywhere. The entry room, my house smells delightful, but unfortunately, yes, there's no whiskey. But luckily, I've got my tasting notes anyway, so I'm going to be sipping on a Milk and Honey while I reminisce on the tasting notes of the Single Malt Whisky Club Launceston exclusive bottling, the peated edition. So the nose on that one, it's dusty antique furniture, sweet orange marmalade, and a fresh floral, almost minty note. On the palate, it nicely coats the mouth with a light oiliness at first. Medium level peaty mustiness cuts through a sweet honeyed crumpet with a splash of vanilla and spice on the side. And the finish is a lengthy roller coaster of smoky sweet notes. Nice, long, warming, and chewy. Now, even though this is unmistakably peated whiskey, it's definitely not like an Islay peat. It's much more of a Highland peat. So while the smoky mustiness is there, those iodine, tar and burnt rubber notes of Islay peat definitely are not. It's a much subtler peat than you may be used to if all you've tried is a Lagavulin one, for example. That is our awesome August for the Single Malt Whisky Club. An absolute world exclusive nod to our little club from Milk and Honey, the Elements Sherry Cask Cask Strength. There it is. It's the crowned world's best single malt whiskey, but on steroids. What an extraordinary whiskey in so many ways. And for those with a penchant for peat, our very own bottling of Tassie's Launceston Distillery, the Single Malt Whisky Club Special Edition Peated. I'll be getting both, don't you worry, but you could choose one or the other, or both. I'd get both. Until next month, I'm Brad Wright. Slanjavar.